Today we're going to talk about a very personal topic, the 5 fears and worries I face in my 10-year journey in software development. I'm sharing this because I know I'm not alone. So let's begin. Step back and journey to early stages of my career. Remember the first day at your first job? The feeling of excitement mixed with the dose of apprehension? That was me, ready to embark on my adventure in software development. At first, things seemed easy enough. I was given small tasks, things I could manage without breaking a sweat. These were your run-of-the-mill chores like changing hardcoded configurations and tweaking the UI a bit. These tasks provided an instant morale boost. They made me feel like I was capable and making immediate progress. But then the honeymoon period ended, and reality started to set in. I was assigned a complex task that required me to dive deep into Spring configurations. To give you an idea, this wasn't just a single XML file. It was an entire array of 10 different complicated and interconnected XML files. Just looking at them made my head spin. Fear took hold of me. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't want to admit that either. It felt like a test, a trial I had to pass to prove myself. Instead of asking for help, I decided to venture alone into Stack Overflow, articles, and software documentation. I even took out a few books from the library, thinking I could solve the puzzle myself. Days went by, and the issue remained unsolved. But the thing is, I was learning, just not fast enough to meet the deadlines or to soothe my escalating anxiety. Then something unexpected happened. During a daily stand-up meeting, the tech lead, a person I thought knew everything, admitted he was stuck on an issue. He said he was struggling with a library that even he didn't understand. And instead of pretending to be invincible, he said he would seek help from other teams. This act of vulnerability was like a ray of light in my fog of self-doubt. It gave me the courage to speak up. "Hey, I'm stuck too," I said. "I'm having a hard time with these Spring configurations." My colleague's response was overwhelmingly positive. Two of them offered to help me immediately. They sat down with me, walked me through the code, and explained every little detail. They didn't make me feel stupid for not knowing. Instead, they made me feel valued for wanting to learn. So, armed with a newfound understanding that it's okay to ask for help, I started to gain more confidence. My coding skills were getting better, and I was taking on increasingly complex tasks with a bit more assurance. But just when I thought I was getting the hang of things, a new challenge loomed large, the dreaded pull request. Submitting a pull request felt like putting my soul up for judgment. It was an open invitation for others to scrutinize my code, my logic, and even my understanding of programming fundamentals. The idea that other developers, more experienced and more skilled than me, will examine my code was petrifying. Now, you may think, what the big deal? It's just code. But let's be real. For developers, code is more than just text on a screen. It's a piece of art, a measure of your skill. The pull request was my exhibit, and the reviewers were my critics. The fear of rejection was heavy on my mind. So, what did I do? Well, initially, I procrastinated. I double-checked my code, ran extra tests, and read through the guidelines one more time. Anything to delay the inevitable. Then, the moment of truth arrived. I took a deep breath and clicked the Submit Pull Request button. The wait was agonizing. Every email notification made my heart jump, thinking it was a comment on my pull request. When the first comments started trickling in, I braced for impact. But guess what? They weren't as brutal as I had imagined. Sure, there were suggestions and critiques, but they were constructive. These were not attacks on my abilities, but opportunities for me to learn and improve. So here's the takeaway. Submitting a pull request or any form of your work for public scrutiny is terrifying, but it's also a critical part of the growth process. By opening yourself to feedback, you not only improve your technical skills, but also learn to handle criticism, manage stress, and build resilience. So, I had navigated the choppy waters of pull requests and had begun to understand that feedback, whether positive or negative, was an essential component of growth. After a few years as a developer, life threw me another curveball, a promotion to tech lead. This was a whole new ballgame, and frankly, the imposter syndrome came back with a vengeance. Suddenly, I wasn't just responsible for my code, I had a team looking out for me for directions and solutions. The very thought, am I good enough, haunted me every day. You see, it's one thing to question your technical skills. It's an entirely different beast to doubt your ability to lead a team. I had this nagging fear that my team will eventually figure out I wasn't as skilled in Java as they had assumed. Every decision felt like a gamble. Would the team agree? Will they follow my lead? Then came the one-on-one meetings with team members. Oh boy, these were intimidating. The pressure to provide value in these conversations was immense. After all, time is a valuable commodity in software development, and the last thing I wanted was for someone to walk away from a meeting thinking it was a waste of time. But you know what happened? I started to realize that leadership is not just about having all the answers. It's about fostering a culture where people feel they can ask questions, express doubts, and seek guidance. I started listening more than speaking, understanding that sometimes people don't need solutions. They just need someone who will listen and understand their challenges. And that's when it clicked. The one-on-ones became less about me proving my worth and showing off my technical prowess, and more about creating a safe space for open dialogue. The irony is that the more I listen, the more I learn, not just about software development, but about team dynamics, individual struggles, and the complex interplay between technology and human behavior. Even now that I'm a technical manager and I have to give presentations to an audience of experts in different topics, I struggle to find my footing for the first 5 minutes, worrying in my head if my points make sense, if the information I'm sharing is correct, or it's even relevant. But every time after each of these situations, I will realize that it was just my imposter syndrome, and I will have supporting team members and mentors that will allow me to overcome my fears and become a better professional. So here's the key. Leadership is not a destination, it's a journey. A journey filled with doubts, challenges, constant learning. You are not expected to know everything. In fact, the moment you think you do, that's when you should start worrying. Leadership is about embracing your vulnerabilities and turning them into strength, both for you and your team. If you want to know everything that a tech lead should be doing, I suggest you watch this video. Thanks for watching. See you next week.